Ducks Unlimited Television is brought to you by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting.
Hello and welcome to the 2016 premiere of Ducks Unlimited Television. I'm Ainsley Beeman. Conserving and enhancing the habitats of the rainwater basin in Nebraska is a high priority for Ducks Unlimited. In this episode, DUTV co-host Wade Bourne samples the public land opener for blue-winged teal with DU biologists Tim Horst and Mike George, coming up next on DUTV.
I've always heard about the incessant winds on the Nebraska prairie, and on this trip we've certainly experienced some of that. But I'll tell you what else we've had, some fantastic teal hunting. We're in the rainwater basin area, southeastern Nebraska, during the special teal season. We're hunting with some of the Ducks Unlimited staff out of the local office that manages this critical area of habitat. Ducks stop here on the way south in the wintertime. They congregate back in here on the way north in the spring. The rainwater basin is a crucial area. We're going to share it with you today. Some good hunting, but also some great conservation information. First afternoon we got in early, so we met up with Tim and he took us on a tour of the area. Showed us a couple of places where we were going to hunt. He also took us out to the Verona project, which in the rainwater basin is noted for being one of the exemplary projects. I'd expected to see big, expansive marshes, sort of like Cheyenne Bottoms in Kansas. Instead, what we found were series of small marshes, 10, 20, 30 acres. We drive over a little ridge, what they call them lunettes, where the wind over the centuries has blown up a small ridge, and you drive over these little dusty country roads, and then you start down a hill, and then here's a 30-acre marsh. Ducks Unlimited works with state and federal agencies to manage these marshes to make them as beneficial as they can possibly be.
So everything we do in Nebraska is focused on the spring migration and sending fat ducks north. Ducks that reach the breeding grounds in the best condition are the first to initiate nests and are the best probability of a successful hatch. So the work we do in the rainwater basin is about producing food, annual plants that produce the food for the ducks when they come through. There's lots of waste grain and corn in the rainwater basin, but that would be the equivalent of us eating nothing but white bread. They need the trace minerals and nutrients, the lipids, the amino acids, the proteins that the wetland plants provide and that corn just can't.
One thing that really surprised me and that touched my heart looking at some of the Ducks Unlimited projects, we came to a memorial to soldiers who have given their lives in service to their country, and these are all soldiers from Nebraska. Just a way to honor the service not only of those who've given their lives, but also those who have served. And it just made me stop and appreciate the service that veterans give and have given, even to the ultimate sacrifice of their own life.
Here they come, here they come.
Nice.
We've got teal flying almost everywhere now. Real fast action.
Nice shooting, Tex. Nice shooting, Tex.
When it's on, it's on.
Ducks Unlimited Television, presented by Drake Waterfowl Systems, innovators in waterfowl hunting, is also brought to you by Mossy Oak Shadow Grass Blades and Ducks Unlimited's Rescue Our Wetlands campaign, banding together for waterfowl.
That first morning as we were wading into the blind, teal were just buzzing all over the marsh. It was before shooting time. As the sun got higher and we started seeing fewer and fewer teal. We got some shooting, but didn't last very long. There were several other employees from the Ducks Unlimited office up in Grand Isle. They're the boots on the ground. They're the biologists and the engineers who actually oversee these Ducks Unlimited projects here in the rainwater basin. And I had an opportunity to spend time and talk with Mike George, who's the supervisor of that office. Mike shared a lot with me about what's going on here in the rainwater and in other areas that they're working in. Mike, it's been a lifelong dream of mine to come to the Rainwater Basin. I've heard about it, I've read about it. What is the Rainwater Basin? What's this all about?
It's the whole wetland complex here, and it's a basin, so it holds the water. It's also one of the biggest migratory stopovers in the Central Flyway. We catch the birds in the spring and we catch the birds in the fall.
How important is this area?
When you think about 3/4 of the continent's pintails come right through here.
Oh, wow.
It's pretty important.
Did 3/4 of the continent's teal come through here?
Yes.
Not this morning yet.
Not yet. No. We got about 6 good weeks in the fall and about probably that many good weeks in the spring. So about 12 weeks out of the year is when the ducks really use this, but this is when they need it.
Okay.
This is where they refuel for the migration.
Here they come, yeah, oh yeah.
Oh, right here, right here. 5.
Ready.
They're tall. Right there on the left, right there on the left.
Here they come.
Stay down, stay down. They're coming in. Okay, take them.
Good morning, a lot of fun, a lot of good conversation, and we had a game plan made up for the second day. We were going to move, and that second day turned out to be a really good one.
Teal are some of North America's smallest but most fascinating duck species. Blue-winged teal are among the first ducks to migrate south each fall and among the last to head north in the spring. Most breed in the prairie pothole region and winter as far south as Peru. Green-winged teal, by contrast, often stay north until the last water freezes. The boreal forest of Canada is important breeding habitat for these diminutive ducks, and the Gulf Coast hosts many during winter. The cinnamon teal is a western bird, found mostly in the Pacific Flyway and primarily wintering in California, Mexico, and Central America. Thanks to abundant rainfall in their breeding areas, blue wings and green wings are at near record high population levels, and they are some of the most often harvested birds. Cinnamon teal are far less common and are a trophy bird for many hunters outside of the Western Flyway. To maintain abundant teal populations across the continent, Ducks Unlimited focuses its conservation efforts on the most important habitats in Canada, US, and Mexico. You can help. Join Ducks Unlimited today at ducks.org.
DU Insights is brought to you by Mossy Oak Properties. Find your favorite place at mossyoakproperties.com.
Going in from that side.
Missed.
They kind of zigged when we were zagging.
Too far, too fast.
DUTV is powered by Mossberg Built Rugged, proudly American, Mossy Oak Properties, America's land specialist, and Purina Pro Plan, nutrition that performs.
When we came out of the motel, guess what? We had thunderstorms in the area. These were not in the forecast. And as we were driving in, we drove through a heavy downpour. I thought there's absolutely no way we're going to get to hunt today. By the time we got out to the field, the storms had moved east of us. Just about an hour later, the sky was clear. The second morning, of course, Tim was back with us, but he brought along a whole new cast of hunters. We had some young biologists and engineers from the DU Grand Isle office, and these guys were really mud under the fingernails kind of hunters. They were excited to be there, and we were excited to have them. And we were hiding in bulrushes this time, or in what they call perennial reeds, just sitting on marsh stools. So we were just huddled down in the vegetation. Had the sun to our back. Of course, now the storm moving, the sun had come up, and the light was beautiful, and the ducks were on the wing, and we had a good breeze. It's just one of those mornings that you wait for.
All right, on the board.
Yep.
We got in real early, got set, got the decoys out, and we were able to get tucked in and hide. Didn't have a lot of movement right off the bat, just kind of like the first morning, but then it heated up. As soon as the first birds showed up and the first shots were fired, birds kept coming for 45 minutes, it seemed like.
he wasn't getting away.
Nope. Stay low, stay low. There's a big group out front behind that, whatever that big bird is. Here we go, the parrot. Right down the pipe. Stay low, stay low.
Our focus in the rainwater basin is habitat protection. Our revolving lands program is one of the most robust in the nation. Basically, purchase of property that has wetland value. A lot of times the wetlands are degraded. We restore the rainwater basin wetlands on those properties. Protection on through a conservation easement, either one of ours or one of our conservation partners, and resell the property and reinvest in other properties. Also, we help on public lands quite a bit, doing restoration projects and enhancement projects on their land, installing pumps, installing water control structures so that they can better manage their wetlands. Just generally helping out in any way we can with our partners. This state is great for partnerships and different wildlife organizations all band together to protect this unique landscape.
Single coming in. 3 out front, coming down the pipe. Ready, boys? 4. Right, single.
All right, I got a mark on him.
Okay. Big duck high. On the left coming in. Got 4 out front coming in.
Hit it, come, hit it.
Nice.
We started shooting there. Evidently, there were a lot of birds down on the far end of the marsh, and they've all gotten up and started stirring around, and we've got teal flying almost everywhere now. Real fast action.
Nice shooting, Tech. Nice shooting, Tech.
When it's on, it's on.
When it comes to mounting and shooting a shotgun, speed does not kill. This is not a quick draw competition. Fast gun mount just makes you inconsistent. If you're rushing the gun like this to your shoulder, you're going to find that your point of impact wanders all over the place. If you can take the time, make a consistent mount like that, it's not very much movement. That is more than fast enough to catch up with any duck or any goose. And I'll show you what that looks like. This is what it looks like when I rush. Speed is not your friend. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast.
DUTV is powered by Biologic, scientifically proven wildlife products. Buck Gardner Calls, champion of champions. Native nurseries, hand-selected, hand-grown plants for wildlife, with closed captioning provided by Honey Break Lodge. World-class accommodations and wing shooting on the Louisiana Bayou.
Distractions in the duck blind. Lord knows there's plenty of them not to add to the confusion. There's ramps, there's decoys, spinner ducks, lots of things to confuse the dog. But we really want him focused outward, looking out, watching for those birds that are gonna make that fall. Then there are people in the duck blind that interfere unintentionally by petting the dog. We call these people indiscriminate petters. They can't help themselves. They pet over and over again. It distracts the dog. The dog is over here playing with them, not watching out the blind. What about that candy bar? Or maybe that sausage and biscuits you pull out? Breaking pieces off and giving that to the dog is quite distracting. And of course, there's people that take their birds and just throw them on the ground inside the duck blind. When the dog comes back from a retrieve, he drops his bird and switches to that one, and we have a scuffle going on in the duck blind. Please think about the dog in the duck blind as a service dog. A dog not to be interfered with, a dog that needs concentration on focus on what's going on out here and not what's going on in here.
In the rainwater basin, there's about 80% loss of wetlands. There were originally 11,000 individual isolated depressional wetlands in the rainwater basin. There's 1,500 remaining, and in any given year, only about a third of that 1,500 have adequate conditions to provide spring migratory habitat. Ducks Unlimited and the Rainwater Basin Joint Venture, the Game and Parks, Fish and Wildlife Service, all of our partners really, we do a lot to work on perennial invasive species and keeping those wetlands in an early successional annual plant community so that we are able to feed the ducks when water conditions are right in the spring.
That's a big bunch.
Going in from that side. They kind of zigged when we were zagging.
Too far, too fast.
Might have called that one a second too early. Okay, straight out. Big group's coming.
Oh yeah.
You ready, boys? Ready, boys?
I'll tell you, this is what teal hunting's all about now. These birds have just started swarming, and when they decide to come, you better be ready to shoot. They're breaking down over the cornfield behind us and just coming straight in, and then when they get here, they're just breaking, and it's fun shooting, it's sporty shooting, but we've got a few more to go, and I think we're gonna get them because there's a lot of activity going on now. Real sporty. This is what teal hunting is. It's a lot of fun. You know, the vegetation in these marshes and rainwater basin is fairly thick. You've got to be really persistent about marking your birds, especially the longer falls. I was able to down a bird and I got a line on him. A biologist named Matt had his dog with him and they went to the bird, but after a protracted search, couldn't find it, came back to the hunting party, and I still had a line on that duck. All right, I got a mark. I'm gonna walk straight to that duck. It wasn't long until I dropped another one in the same area, and I absolutely didn't take my eye off where that duck fell. And Matt went back with me with his dog and walked about 50 yards. I got a line on that last bird, walking to it, and the dog got in and found the first one, which was stiff, so I knew that wasn't the one we just dropped, and then she went right over, picked up the second one. So we've been pretty efficient this morning getting our cripples out of this thick cover.
The rainwater basin is extremely important for numerous shorebird species, whooping cranes, even sandhill cranes from time to time. Millions of birds utilize these habitats, and there's just fewer of them available now. Any tract we can protect, the better.
Up front on the left. They ain't coming anyway. So, oh, on the left. Blue leg. Almost got crescent. He's almost got white on his face. Let's get him down. I want to see him. Here he comes. Here he comes, boys. That thing has a white crescent on its face. Great to see.
What a grand morning. This really picked up today, the second day, and we walked in here and had a thunderstorm. I thought we were all going to get drenched. Lo and behold, that storm just went right on by, and the sky is beautiful and the ducks have flown. We've had a tremendous shoot. Just kind of got to see a panorama of what this rainwater basin is all about, and it is important, and when you're here, it's a lot of fun. The rainwater basin, the teal are here. It's about the third week of September, and we've got one more day to enjoy.
habitats like the rainwater basin of Nebraska are vital links for migrating waterfowl. DU is on the ground in these places with scientific, financial, and manpower resources to ensure a future for these natural treasures. Special thanks to Tim Horst and Mike George of DU for sharing such a special hunt. And thank you for watching and learning more about DU here and at ducks.org.